Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. This is episode 2, and we're thrilled to have Bryan Reynolds, founder of Anthem Coffee, business coach extraordinaire, expert in scaling. And Bryan, I can't say enough good things about you. So why don't you start by saying a couple of good things about yourself?
Man, thank you for the introduction, and thanks for having me, Rob. I love to talk about myself, so this will be easy.
Perfect.
Man, no, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without first of all, my beautiful junior high sweetheart, who I fell in love with. Saw her across the church sanctuary, and I was like, girl, you single? Boom. And we became great friends, married. We're celebrating 19 years this year. We have 3 boys, 17, 13, and 11 years old. I have an incredible team of people around me as well these days.
Yeah.
You know, we've been operating Anthem for 17 years strong. Yeah. And we wouldn't be where we're at today if it weren't for the incredible team that I'm surrounded by. You know, I always say if I'm the smartest one in the room, we're all screwed. And so I've been able to find some really, really talented people to surround myself with and to grow and scale our business with over the years. And it's a fun season of life right now, man. Yeah.
I love how gracious you are. And you just turned 40 years old, is that right?
Guilty.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So how's it feel turning 40 there?
You know, we were talking about this before we started rolling the cameras. I'm perpetually stuck at the age of 23.
How do you arrive at 23?
Maybe it was like, it was the year that we started the business, to be honest with you.
No
so
kidding.
I'm like locked in at that, like wide-eyed and, you know, wonder and just, I remember, and I even tell people this too, even today, I still feel like every day is day one.
Yeah.
I still have that approach as I approach a business.
Okay.
Even as I approach my relationship with my wife, I don't let things go stale. I just try to think of it as day one. Day one mentality. So I'm stuck at 23. And mentally. Now, some people have come up to me, little children, they go, Santa? And I go, I'm not him, sweetie, sorry. So, you know, my wife's like, you gotta trim the beard or at least get some just for men.
No way.
Figure it out.
Let it roll, brother.
I
You're
know,
looking great.
Isn't gray a sign of wisdom or something?
Yeah, and you're owning it. I love that, man. I love that.
I appreciate it.
So 23 when you started the business, you're 40 now.
Yeah.
17 years in, gone from 1 location to 7.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the first question would be if you could look back and tell 23-year-old Bryan a couple words of wisdom, what might those be?
Oh my gosh, what a great question. Yeah, if I was sitting down across the table from him today, just getting started, and being able to kind of coach him on what would be the most important things to do as a 23-year-old. I remember 23-year-old version of me had a brand new born, you know, child.
Wow.
And winning, it was easier to win at work than it was to win at home with little kids, to be honest. And I would encourage that 23-year-old version of me to be present wherever you're planted, meaning, you know, I remember I was so enthralled and infatuated, almost to the point that the business became my mistress in some regards. I love business.
Yeah.
I love it.
I can relate.
I'm good at it. I love to build teams of people. I love to make change and impact people's lives through really cool experiences, serving coffee, and showing our heroic hospitality, which we're known for, right?
That's right.
But at the end of the day, winning at home makes winning at work worth it. And I didn't learn that until way later in the game, after I'd almost lost my marriage, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I would spend the majority of my time being in a place where I could stack up wins really easily. Changing diapers, I didn't feel like I was winning. Dishes, I didn't feel like I was winning. Yeah. I didn't know how to, there's not books that prepare you necessarily for young, being married young, having kids young, the whole deal. And so it was something I fumbled through. And I would say, first, make what's most important in your life by being present with the people who matter most. Yeah.
That's so good, brother. That's great advice for myself personally, too.
Yeah.
I've got a young family, too. I got started a little later in the game than you did, but I'm in those shoes now, and I relate because it's easier to quantify things that you can stare at work.
Yes, and
or
things
make
that you
people
can
happy.
change on a fly.
Yep. Or it helps be the boss, right?
Yes.
It's easy to do that, but at home, you're an equal with your spouse, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing for me is I had to redefine what winning looked like.
Okay.
And I had to make winning at home the priority. And I had to have really hard conversations with my wife and pull it out of her. Like, what does winning look like in this season and every season moving forward? And it served me really well, learning that early on. And that's applied to business too. You know, business ebbs and flows and has different seasons of energy that it's going to require from you, effort that's going to require from you. Sometimes you have to prune. Sometimes you have to push forward. Sometimes you have to expand and strike while the iron's hot. Sometimes you can grow too fast and lose it all. Business is not for the faint of heart.
Amen.
I don't care who you are or what you've been trained by. I mean, like, and business is a full contact sport, if you ask me.
Okay. Flesh that out a little bit.
I mean, listen, I played football for 2 weeks in Callis Junior High. I switched over from one junior high to another one. I thought, the best way to integrate here and get to know some people would probably be to join the football team. Right. So I grew up playing baseball. I never played football. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I don't like all the rough and tumble stuff. Yeah. But I remember, back in the day, you had to earn your pads.
Okay.
You had to spend 2 weeks practicing, running drills, doing different things, just getting movements figured out before the coach would award you your pads. Yeah. So I remember that day came, and the night before, my mom took me. She's so proud. This is so exciting. Takes me shopping and get the brand new gloves and the headbands and the cleats that match and the whole deal.
Eye black, the full kit.
Of course, everything. And I get suited up that day, put the pads on for practice. I remember just this feeling of victory before I put my helmet on, and then I put the helmet on and started running full speed and totally went top heavy and fell down in front of the cheerleaders, the whole deal. It was all downhill from there.
Okay.
And there were these two twin brothers, Lance and Ashton. I'll never forget these. They're twins. Yeah. They're all of 5'5" maybe, but stocky, 200-pound just beasts running around the field. And they everything was choreographed. They're laughing as they're clotheslining me and knocking me down and beating the just junk out of me. So by the end of the practice that day, I went up to my coach. I said, "This is not for me, coach. Yeah. I'm going to go try out for the school play." And I joined the drama club.
No kidding.
Dead serious.
Okay.
Yep. And so I equate that story to what it is as a business owner.
Sure.
I mean, you take blow after blow after blow, knock after knock. You build up this incredible kind of imaginative experience of what it would be like to own my own business, to be my own boss, right? And the reality kicks in the form of those twins knocking you out, beating you down, and even the helmet being too heavy for you to carry. It's like, what in the world is that
analogy.
Deal?
Yeah.
Got top heavy, dude. Fell right down. I'm going.
Yeah, something you never thought would even happen, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's what business is. And that's, I'm a huge proponent and advocate for mentorship and for even taking somebody else that you admire or aspire to be like, take them out to lunch and make sure you have a list of 10 questions before you do that. But to ask them those 10 questions could be life-changing for you in preparation. And
couldn't agree more.
You know what I mean?
You know what? It takes a certain person to be comfortable to ask someone that's well-known like you to go do that, but I couldn't agree more. I mean, and guys like us, we love that, right?
We love it. And that's kind of the secret thing that you don't realize is it honors us. It honors me. Anytime somebody's like, "Hey, could I pick your brain and spend a moment with you?" I don't give all of my time away for free. I have really good boundaries and balance in my life, and I want to have good quality family time and things like that. But man, I have time that I do set aside each month to give and to serve and to love other people and to help fan the entrepreneurial flame in people.
I love that.
And give advice. And man, it just brings. It keeps me, I think, in that day one mentality. Yeah. Because it constantly reminds me of what it was like to be 23, young, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to take on the world. And I'm able to help people, sometimes in some cases go further faster by knowing what pitfalls to avoid possibly.
Sure. An analogy that I use sometimes is that, after you've done it a few times, you don't have to hit the guardrails on the way to the pins, right?
1,000%.
You know the route, so you get there a little smoother and pick your brain. Learn a few things that you can implement. And
absolutely. Do
it a lot smoother than maybe even you or I did it.
Learn from others' mistakes, man. Do it.
Totally. So, I mean, everybody knows you, But in case there's someone who doesn't know you,
Yeah.
I mean, walk them through your journey with Anthem from 1 store to 7, and then where things are going from here, and really what you specialize in. I mean, you use the term heroic hospitality. What does that mean? That's phenomenal.
Yeah. Wow. Well, anytime I introduce myself, I'm always like, hey, what's up, everybody? Bryan here from Anthem Coffee, and I always pitch that. But, the story, Anthem Coffee wouldn't even be had it not been for my parents taking a risk. And I'll be really brief in this story, but my parents were about to be empty nesters. My sister, who I grew up with, and we were, about to head off to college, and they could have just kind of sailed off into the sunset, bro. But they heard the story of this little 5-year-old girl. By the age of 5, she had been through 12 different foster homes. So if you can imagine being rejected, this was because these parents couldn't handle this little girl. Yeah. She was just a handful. My parents heard that story and just felt like, whoa. They had the margin, they had the means, and they were in a season in their life where they thought, we could really do something about this.
No kidding.
They brought her into their home. Brought her in as a foster child, and ended up adopting her and giving her a last name and a forever home. And we call that heroic hospitality. That's like, that was born out of, just inviting a total stranger in and loving them and serving them and seeing them radically change and have a different outcome for their life. Yeah, in a sense. My parents went on to foster 8 kids. Adopt 4 of them. So I have 3 sisters and a brother I've always wanted.
That's amazing.
Yeah, in addition to my sister I grew up with.
My dad's a foster child. So
you get it, bro.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's legacy stuff. It changes lives.
That's right.
So and I remember even growing up, my mom, this idea of heroic hospitality, my mom would, I'd be playing in the streets with all the neighbor kids and whatnot. And then she had this ability to, with her pinky, she would put them in her mouth and whistle louder than a train, to get my attention no matter where I'm at in the neighborhood.
Sure.
And it'd be like she'd do this little sound, and I was like, oh, gotta go.
That's right.
Whenever that would happen, my friends would follow because they knew my mom would always have like PB&Js or lasagna or something to share with the whole neighborhood, right? So it's kind of just, that's ingrained in who I am. And, I really honed the skills of people skills and enjoying hospitality and creating experiences for people. At an early age, I saw my parents doing it, what it meant for people, and then getting the opportunity, to start a business together. Really, the impetus being to get my dad to be able to retire sooner and be more involved and invested in these kids' lives that they were adopting. Okay. That was the kind of the push. My wife threw the idea out, hey, what if we started a business? What if we did a coffee shop?
No way.
And the rest is history, as they say.
That's amazing.
You fast forward, we had 1 store for 5 years, and we were part of a local franchise. At the end of the 5-year agreement, there was no non-compete thing, so we were able to become our own family brand at that point.
I see.
So November 1st of 2011 is when Anthem Coffee was birthed. Okay. But we opened a second location at that same time, and we flipped our current location in like a 72-hour extreme home makeover renovation style kind of flip thing. Like, people are like, what are you doing to my local coffee shop? Why are you tearing it all apart?
Yeah.
Like 72 hours, we worked around the clock. We flipped this thing, and we gave out T-shirts to people in the community that were helping us that said, this is my anthem. And so it was kind of this really cool thing. Like, I believe that involvement equals ownership. Okay. And so as we involved the community, they began to own this place and make it their own. And truthfully, we launched Anthem in 2 locations that moment, underfunded, understaffed, under-resourced, underprepared for what the future had for us.
Overfaithed.
But overfaithed.
Clearly.
Yes, big time. We did. Had faith driving us, man. And, did that with 2 stores for another 5 years. So we're talking a decade with only 2 stores.
Right. Puyallup and Tacoma.
You got it, brother. Our Tacoma store right in front of the UW Tacoma campus.
Yeah. Union Station area. Beautiful.
It's an amazing spot. Connected to the History Museum.
Concerts and stuff there.
Yeah. There's an amphitheater behind our coffee shop.
Right.
Built into like an urban kind of environment. It's
totally
super
insane.
sick.
Yeah.
Super sick. One of our major values is leadership development. And so when we made that something that was important to us and actually lived it out, what we noticed is we started we build people. We're building people. They're becoming better, but they had nowhere to go. So with these 2 stores, we had all the leadership spots filled, and it was like, man, maybe we should consider scaling beyond the 2.
That's right.
It's funny, as a principal now too, you have to staff for growth. It's not the other way around. You don't grow and then you go, oh snap, we better staff it real quick and better hire.
Yep.
Like you need to. It's kind of a faith deal.
Sure.
I believe like it's a visionary leader saying, I know where we're going, and in order to get there, we need to staff for growth now. We need to prepare our people now.
So
we need
sharp.
to invest in them, right?
Yep.
So
can't play catch up.
You can't.
Yeah.
It'll tank you. It really will. Mm-hmm. So we just kind of timed it perfectly as we're building people. We noticed again they had no place to go, so they'd go off to other organizations. But when we made that shift in our thinking, like let's expand, all of a sudden location after location after location became available to us. We had a great real estate agent helping us locate these spots, strategic growth into Tacoma and around Tacoma. And it was the kind of thing where, for a season of about 2.5 years, every 3 to 4 months, we were opening a location.
Incredible.
So it grew from 2 to 8 really quickly and had the people to do so. Yeah. Invested all of the profits and everything that was coming back into the business.
Sure.
And then COVID hit,
isn't it?
Yeah. It's what you had to do.
Sure.
But then the unexpected happened. 2020 shows up, and we thankfully only lost 1 location through that whole deal, and we were able to reallocate those people. But the growth journey has been phenomenal. What's crazy though is because COVID hit, we survived. And we stayed stuck in a survival mentality for quite a while.
I can relate to that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes your team stronger, right? You're tough because you're able to survive everything.
You get scrappy.
Yeah.
You get resourceful. Mm-hmm. You think out of the box. Yeah. Because there's restrictions and there's parameters on certain things you can do, you have to make it work. Yeah. And that's kind of the family that we've always been.
Okay.
And our team was so... Gosh, I just think back. They were so. What do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Just. They were just capable, able to roll with the punches. They were resilient. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I was going to use gritty.
Gritty is another word.
Resilient.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And it paid off because now we're on the other side of it. What's odd though is leaving that survival mentality behind when you've been in it for quite a while, and trying to shift into this mentality of thriving once again.
Right. Right.
And that's been about a year-long journey in and of itself. Okay. Leaving behind the mentalities of cutting, pruning, watching every single little thing as carefully as possible. It's tough to grow when you're kind of like holding on for dear life, right? And so, just between my team and I over the last, like I said, several months, that's been our topic of conversation is how do we go from surviving to thriving once again? Yeah. And it looks very intentional. It looks like examining every practice and becoming better before bigger. And that's been our mantra. That was our mantra before we grew from 2 to 8. Mm-hmm. It's our mantra once again now, better before bigger. Better. Better as individuals, better in our marketing, better in branding, better in our service, better in... the product and everything.
What amazes me perhaps most about you is that as people scale, sometimes quality dips, right?
Yes.
People want to go bigger before better, right? And then things kind of fall to their ankles. And you've been able to grow and improve the quality at the same time. Is there a secret?
That is so kind of you to say so, man. If you only knew what I knew, but it's like, I'm thankful to hear that perception. And the truth is, I think you just have to be, first of all, mindful of it. There's no secret to it. The fact is, when you scale a business, you scale the good with the bad.
Sure.
So you can spend your whole life focusing on trying to make it perfect and never, ever grow it. And it never, ever gets a chance to bless anyone. Or you can just have this proactive leadership mentality where you're constantly in tune with your business to the point, and you have a great pulse on it. You understand where your people are at. You understand what the perception in the community says about you, and you're not afraid to make changes, no matter how hard they might be to make, in order to really just serve the community as best as you possibly can. And that's what drives us every day.
Yeah, I can see it. Everyone can
not
see
perfection, It's progress. It's just little by little by little, but daily becoming a little bit better than we were the day before.
I completely relate.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
We use the phrase "move the firm forward" every day, even if it's an inch. Yeah. So it's really similar.
I love that. Takes the pressure off when you think of it that way.
Yeah, you bet. Because perfect, we'll never attain it, but we can certainly shoot for it. So you have a coaching program and a whole coaching business.
Yes.
And I can see developing leaders has been so critical in the growth of Anthem. And then also, it's got to feel good to have all these other studs out running around, running your shops right this moment while we get to hang out on the podcast and have a little something in our glass. I mean, tell me about your coaching program. What's that all about?
Yeah, so it's tailored, honestly, to wherever the leader is at in their journey. My approach really is we attack the pain points, the things that are causing the most grief or frustration for any leader at any level in their leadership journey, no matter where they're at. That surfaces in a lot of ways. I mean, they'll say, "Man, it's communication," or I don't know where we're going, or I'm having a hard time, communicating and connecting with my team members. The truth is that when the leader gets better, everyone around the leader gets better. And so many leaders are afraid to kind of let in on the secret that I don't have it all together.
Right.
And so the cat's out of the bag, folks. I mean, we don't have it all together as leaders. The fact is we're carrying so many different things, wearing so many different hats.
Yep.
And ultimately, we want success and we want legacy and we want impact and influence, right? Clients that I've worked with, it's been so fun to just get into the mess of where they're at and to love them through it, and then to see them rise and realize, lights come on and they learn, and they're eager to learn. That's the thing, is sometimes they just need somebody to show them how.
I think you're going to be so valuable as a speaker at the Personal Injury Summit on that sort of wavelength, because I think that a lot of these people that are going to attend it, they have a very, very much a winning product and a winning service that they're sold out on. They believe in it, the healing powers of it, and they just want to help more people. Not necessarily for financial gain, but just for community impact.
That's it.
And I think they need to become big leaders so that they can train their teams to empower them for more growth. And I think you're the perfect guy to talk to them about that.
Bro, I'm so grateful to be at the table and to be able to speak and share from my experience with everyone in attendance, man. And I just believe that money chases mission. And so when leaders can lead from a place of mission, meaning they got their guiding principles on lock, meaning that they believe their guiding principles, they live by them, but they also kind of force those through the whole organization to unify everyone, to head the same direction. That's when you see businesses really make impact.
That's so sharp.
And
from a really pure standpoint.
Exactly.
And a foundation.
Totally. Yeah.
So you're ready to get back on the field then. I mean, you're a baseball guy.
I grew up playing baseball, man. I did.
Okay. Because you're going to be
baseball.
You're going to present down there on the field.
I'm ready for it.
Grab a little bit of Mariners dirt.
That's a space that I'm very comfortable with.
Right.
You put me on a football field, not comfortable with that. But baseball, that's my home territory
Brother,
there.
I am hyped up. I can't wait for these people to hear from you.
It'll be great, man. And, I hope to knock it out of the park.
Oh, we know it's going to be a grand slam, brother.
Maybe at least a base hit up the middle. Just depends on who's coming. So
we know what's coming up.
I can't wait to add value to your audience, and just thrilled for what you're doing, Rob. How you're bringing people together, helping them to become better, and your heart to want to, influence, get creative, get resourceful to solve problems for people, in the injury field, personal injury stuff.
I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, what's been personally gratifying for me is seeing so many of our other team members just rise in just their level of leadership and their level of just calm in the storm, because we're seeing people at a difficult time oftentimes. After their lives have been flipped upside down. And so it's been amazing for me to be able to delegate a little bit of that to these other up and coming, rising people, many of whom are going to become attorneys for our firm, and to you and I are helping people go where they want to go and live the life of their dreams. And it's just
nothing gets me out of bed faster than getting to do that.
It's just the best.
So cool.
Anyway, June 3rd, Personal Injury Summit. It's at T-Mobile Park.
You got a website?
Home of the Mariners. wapersonalinjurysummit.com.
Love it.
If you aren't yet registered, you got to get hooked up. It's through the WSCA, Washington State Chiro Association. But don't get confused. If you're a PT, a massage therapist, a neurosurgeon, a family doc, anybody out there who's in the space of helping injured people, or if you just want to up your game and hear from some incredible speakers, I'd deeply encourage you to register. And we can't wait to see everybody there, man. I know we're going to kill it. So thanks again for joining us.
Man, such a pleasure to be on.
Hyped up.
Thanks so much.
All right, my man.
Right on.